Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. We're over 2 years into the pandemic and we're still having the great mask debate. Mask debate this, mask debate that. Everybody wants to mask debate.
Yes.
Introducing your host, Dr. London Smith.
Welcome to the Jock Doc podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, Dr. LondonSmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We've received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as dendritic ulcers and queso, so I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Oh, Dr. London. It's that time of year once again, isn't
yes.
it?
Which time of year are you thinking of?
Fall,
Okay.
autumn.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, because
It's-
sometimes you aren't sure of the time of year.
Oh, yeah. The leaves are taking themselves away from the trees that they grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
The winds are suddenly blowing in a little chillier than before.
I noticed that.
The fall goblin that goes house to house on every fall evening, and you either have to give him something or he gives you something, and he never tells you which, and you have to sort of guess. And if you get it wrong, he's like, dude, he's not gonna do anything to you, but he's like, come on,
He's
man,
frustrated.
you know. Yeah.
So the first things you said, like the wind blowing and the leaves falling kind of thing, that I'm more familiar with.
I don't like calling it leaves falling.
I'm sorry,
'cause
leaving.
It sort of sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like disrespectful. It's saying, oh, they used to be at their peak and they've fallen.
Well, it's falling with
It's like,
style.
no, they've matured. They've grown up and they're leaving the nest.
Yeah.
Which was the tree.
Okay. Well.
Going right into the ground.
Okay. Well,
And then
I apologize for
my dog
at that point.
will poop on that leaf.
Okay.
Circle of life.
Yes. So I apologize for the way that I put that. That was
Yes,
inappropriate of
thank
me. But so the goblin thing, that sounds, because like I have people who come to my house at night sometimes, but to my knowledge, none of them are goblins.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course the Autumn Goblin is going to come to your house every night in autumn, and he's going to demand either you give him something or he's going to demand that he gives you something, and you have to guess which. That's obvious. I guess you're saying he comes during the afternoon or something? Maybe he has like a route. I don't know how that works. What are you saying?
I'm saying I'm not familiar with this experience that you're conveying, and so I'm trying to make sure, because maybe I'm confusing something for something else. So whenever you see the goblin,
is this a religious thing for you? I don't like asking what religion you are, so maybe that's what this
I know
is.
that, and I've made you really nervous by the amount of times whenever I've implied that you need to ask me my religion, and I've made it really kind of pushy almost that you need to ask me my religion.
Yeah, and I don't want to ask. I don't want to cross any boundaries here, Dr. London. But what the hell are you talking about?
So is this like an atheist goblin then? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gotten into religion like this, but it's gonna go there if you bring up the goblin.
Ooh, well, I mean, you're asking if the goblin believes in God?
No,
is that
it's a goblin of atheism.
Ooh, I guess here's the thing. Our discussions almost entirely revolve around whether or not he's giving me a gift or whether or not I should be providing a gift. We don't really talk about, is he agnostic? Is he Christian? It doesn't really get brought up.
Well,
it's usually gift-based, and then he's pissed
because
I usually get it wrong.
Does the Easter Bunny bring up Easter a lot? Does Santa always bring up Christmas?
Yes, both those things.
Yes.
The bunny? I feel like the bunny doesn't even talk.
Have you talked to him?
Not lately.
Have you actually reached out and tried to have a conversation with him?
Okay, I see. So this
is that.
Okay, so what I'm hearing now is that I have not taken the time to get to know the goblin. And
I guess, again, I don't know what religion you are. I don't know what you do in your free time. I know that for the past 4 years, it's a tradition that goes back all the way to 2017. every single fall, the fall goblin, the autumn goblin, also known as the goblin,
Okay.
comes to my door. That's all. This is all I know, and I guess I just thought that you were plugged into the culture and the zeitgeist, and you would.
Well, I got to
know
say,
what's going on.
You know, one of the reasons we have you on the podcast as the producer is you get this generation. You can relate to all these TikTokers, these Gen Zers, and you are aware of this goblin stuff that I guess all of them are doing the goblin dance or whatever, and I don't know about it, and that's why you are here to let me know. So what I need to know now.
And it's just funny you even. Just the way you say, you're like, you assume because it's on TikTok that it must be a dance when it's like TikTok's not even all about dances anymore. You know, obviously kids are doing the Autumn Goblin, but it's not really a dance. It's a prank that they're playing on their teacher.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so this.
It's just fun. It's just cute. It's just cute how like unplugged
Yeah.
you are that you don't even like know about the Autumn Goblin meme that's like everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know what? To help me learn even more, let's. To our listeners out there, tweet at us, send us a message on Instagram, post in your stories, your depiction of the Autumn Goblin, and what that means to you. Do the Autumn Goblin, so it's not a dance, but do the Autumn Goblin. Is that
definitely do the Autumn Goblin, and then also send us your artwork, your pictures. If you want to write a poem about the Autumn Goblin, these are all cool options that you can do anytime you want.
Really cool. And that's at Jock Podcast.
Yes. And then is it just Dr. London Smith is your personal one? Definitely hit up London's personal one as much as possible.
Yeah. No, it is. And that is my personal one. Yes. And so do that. Let us know your all these trends. And so as our producer, Cameron.
And tell us what gifts you've received from the Autumn Goblin and the gifts you've given to the Autumn Goblin.
Yeah. Man, I feel like I've missed out so much. But the last 4 years.
You think you've missed out, it really ends up being very equal.
Okay. Well, good, I guess.
The gifts they're not real. Like, I'll give him a coaster and then he gives me like a fake pine cone. Like, it's just knickknacks.
But he likes that.
It's really more of a chore than it is.
I say it's I don't know. Is the Autumn Goblin a gendered?
I mean, again, this stuff doesn't come up. Like, I haven't asked him. I haven't asked him. I don't know.
Okay.
It's almost entirely like, where's my stuff?
It's just transactional.
Or are you going to take my stuff?
Okay.
I'm giving it to you. Like it. And
Okay.
Conversation does not deviate a whole lot.
All right. Well, you know what? Our listeners also, if you want to let us know more information about the Autumn Goblin, we would love to hear it. I think I'm always open to learn more. So anyway, that's our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Digital in the House.
Things got really heated during tonight's North Allegheny School Board meeting.
It barely even got started, and school board members decided to end the meeting
because a large group of parents refused to put on masks.
and there was a lot of arguing going on as well. 2 days ago, a judge approved a temporary restraining order.
Put a mask mandate back in place for the school district. You'll hear both sides of this argument.
It's never been about your health. It's never been about your health. It's about control and compliance. And let me tell you something. Go home tonight and take one of these spoons and put it on your vaccination spot. Guess what? It's gonna stick to you.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. The U.S. is fast approaching an almost incomprehensible point in the coronavirus pandemic.
You with that diaper on your face, if he farted right now, could you smell it? That's how stupid this is. We're all playing games here with people's lives, and I'm sick of it. I would represent all these hard-working guys that couldn't be here today. Just take off work to put up with this BS that you guys are putting down. And there's hell coming. There's hell coming, and I'm not doing it to threaten anybody. But there's a lot of good guys out there ready to do bad things soon. Watch what's coming. These mandates are going to threaten. There's hell coming.
And later, Cameron tells me we can expect a special guest.
That's right, Dr. London. But can we confirm, DJ Dillon, it's not the Autumn Goblin hitting me up at my work because I didn't give him a gift yesterday, right?
Nope. Hold on, you didn't give him a gift?
Well, here's the thing. I kind of worry that it's sort of turning into, like, you know when someone is getting served papers?
Yes.
And, like, people will just pop up in random places, at least according to TV, and they'll be like, oh, you got served. I'm really worried that, like, you know, DJ Dillon, for example, is going to turn around and it's not DJ Dillon at all. It's going to be Autumn Goblin saying,
okay.
Oh, did you bring me a coaster? Where's my coaster?
So I said I didn't know about the Autumn Goblin. This is a context in which I know the Autumn Goblin. Serving subpoenas. Yes.
Yes. But if they're not subpoenas in the traditional sense, it's more of a document that says either you're going to give me a gift or I'm going to give you a gift.
So it's a non-traditional subpoena. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, before we move on from that, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback since we've been talking so much about it. This note comes from a tablet. So I guess one of those, it's like a computer, but without, like it's missing half. This is my understanding. So the note reads, quote, I am looking to adopt a fish, but although I can afford a purebred, my friends tell me that I should do the right thing by getting one from the shelter. Which one should I choose for my fish adoption? End quote.
Well, I mean, this is sort of a complicated subject because a lot of places that present themselves as a shelter turn out to be a fish mill. A guppy mill is as they get called pretty often, which you don't want to be supporting that kind of environment at all, you know.
But if it saves them from, you know, being put down or something, the fish.
Yeah, or if it saves them money to go that route too, I'm fine with that too. As long as it makes sense in some way.
Well, it's so
I can be convinced of almost anything with very, very little pushback.
So they say that they can afford a purebred though, and that's what because some people are really into their specific breeds of goldfish, and like some are easier to train, you know, to I guess to swim differently.
Well, and you know, you want to have the right breeds that are good with kids.
Yeah, the good personalities, the ones that aren't too aggressive.
Yeah, you don't want a biter, or you know, you don't want a fish that's so food motivated.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess for this listener, you should do your own research because honestly, it's really personal for you, and just asking us, I don't think is going to get you all the answers you need. Like, I hate to leave you hanging like this, but like once again, as Cameron said, we could be convinced either way on it. And some of these shelters...
Easily. Oh, man, so easily.
Some of these shelters may not be trustworthy. And conversely, some of them may be overtly, extremely trustworthy. And so I don't know.
Well, and honestly, you could take the same shelter and convince me one way or the other with no effort.
Yes. So once again, I think maybe doing your own research is the way to go because it sounds like Cameron will be persuaded by either way. I
mean, you might even think like, oh, is it the loudest person in the room? Is it the last person who talks?
Yes.
It's bits and pieces, baby. It's just keywords that are all sort of brought in.
Okay. Well, anyway.
And I just say, yeah.
So to that listener, thank you for listening and for sending in your question. And, we'd love to keep answering these questions. Now for today's medical topic, esophageal spasm. Esophageal spasm is when the esophagus literally just spasms, and this causes symptoms. Remember that the esophagus is the part of your throat that does the swallowing. There are two primary types of spastic esophageal disorders. There's diffuse esophageal spasm and nutcracker esophagus, and they are clinically indistinguishable. Both of these forms of esophageal spasm present with a sudden onset of chest pain that's unrelated to exertion. So, at first, it's impossible to distinguish these esophageal spasms from an atypical coronary artery spasm or unstable angina.
Yeah, but it is important to know that if you do have chest pain caused by exertion, you're good to go. Like, you are totally above board. You are fine. I think it's important. Sometimes people sort of become hypochondriacs because of the internet. WebMD says, oh, my toe hurts. I have lung cancer or whatever. And it's like, no, obviously, if you've got just gripping chest pain or anything like that from exertion, you're good. You're fine. It's not what Dr. London's talking about.
So I mean, this is, well, I guess to finish up my point, I don't know that I can endorse what Cameron said, but so in other words, esophageal spasms can have heart attack symptoms. But I would say you do have to rule out whether it is a heart attack. You don't assume that it's not a heart attack.
And so, I mean, again, it's not going to be a heart attack if that pain is coming from exertion. If you've been just going at it, let's say like you were already, you're on your run and you're already feeling kind of weak or something feeling kind of off, you're sweating more than usual. It just, you're good. It does not matter. Keep going, keep grinding. That is what this podcast is all about. We are now a like rise and grind inspirational go-getter podcast.
Yeah. See, okay, and one little addendum I'm going to make there is that, if you do feel chest pain while running and like it's severe, especially if you're older, like
tweet
50, 60
tweet
years
at Dr.
old,
London.
up.
If you're feeling those kind of symptoms, you want to tweet at Dr. London. Again, you can hit up the Jock Doc podcast on Twitter or just Dr. London Smith.
Yeah, and so you're going to want to, me potentially, but I would also say 911 if you're in the United States. Then I would call emergency services wherever you are. Is another really good potential option there. But in any case, patients with esophageal spasm, they may present with this sudden severe chest pain, but it's often precipitated by drinking cold liquids. The patients with esophageal spasm will have a normal EKG and stress tests, along with normal esophagram and endoscopy, although the patient may show a corkscrew appearance on barium study on X-ray. Diagnosis of esophageal spasm and distinguishing between diffuse esophageal spasm and nutcracker esophagus. It's done with manometry, and that's the most accurate test. This will show a different pattern of abnormal contraction in each of these spasm disorders. Treatment of esophageal spastic disorders are with calcium channel blockers or tricyclic antidepressants as an alternative. If those fail, then sildenafil may be used. Nitrates may also be effective, and even proton pump inhibitors can show efficacy in some cases, even though those are...
And then again, if all of these things fail, all of these things you're trying and these pills or whatever, then you probably don't have it. You're good. And this is sort of the important thing. We don't want to over-medicate people and say like, oh, well, maybe you have this, so we'll give you this. No, I mean, if you go through every single thing, like antidepressants, whatever, and it's not helping, you're good. You've reached the end of the line. You're good to go. Go for a run.
Yeah, and so I'd say just, if you're wondering any of this, then maybe, in addition to Cameron's opinion, you should maybe seek the opinion of a medical professional near you, like at emergency services or at your primary care physician, those kind of things.
Yeah, if you're feeling any sort of chest pain caused by exertion, you just want to put on your running shoes. You want to jog down to your physician or the hospital or anything like that.
All right. I think we can move on from there then. I think it's better to leave this behind at this point.
Yeah, leaving it back in the dust because you're moving so fast and running so hard.
Right.
It's not even in your rear view.
All right, Cameron, you said that we have a guest today. Is that right?
That's right, Dr. London.
All right. Well, hello there. My name is drlondonsmith.com. This is our producer, Cameron. What was your name?
My name is Kyle. Just Kyle. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so it's sort of like a Cher
or a Billy Bob.
Yeah, just sort of a singular name.
Well, my parents they also don't have last names. Yeah, I mean, my parents, they were Bo. That's short for botulism, and
sure,
and Sarah, which is short for SARS. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just we never had any last names.
Sarah was short for SARS.
Yes. That's what she told me.
Depending on how you spell it, I would think it's the same or longer. But no, Let me, I guess, back up. And I hate to sort of point things out sort of socioeconomically, but
Sure.
was your family unable to afford last names?
No. It's just, it just. I mean, I guess so. I mean, I guess they couldn't afford to buy the legal paperwork to give them last names. I mean, it's just so hard when you're a disease, when you've got two diseases that fall in love with each other, and somehow enough of their disease formed this. I'm the first disease that has ever walking and talking ever in the history of just.
Oh
yeah.
So
You're saying you came from a really toxic environment.
I did.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
I very much did.
Yeah.
Well, your father was a literal toxin. Is that
botulism? Yeah, my dad botulism.
Yes.
Botulism. Yeah.
Yeah, that's surprising in part because, one is a disease, the other is a toxin. Those are actually kind of separate. Like one's a protein, and the other's That's fascinating though. And you came from that.
Yeah, I did. I mean, and that just makes their love just so much more daring and stronger. It's just the fact that I'm this miracle, that I'm talking to you and I'm talking for all of the other diseases today.
You have to forgive Dr. London. He's very old school in his thinking. So the idea that, a toxin could fall in love with a bacteria, just all of these sort of things. I'm sorry. He's just not used to how things are now,
I mean, it's okay. I mean, I know how it is in medicine, especially amongst men, where they're just set in their ways, and it's always, it has to be that one way, where women can't wear earrings while they practice medicine. I get it. I get it.
Well, that rule came about, I think, largely because of me, because I used to wear earrings a lot during surgery.
Yeah.
And they were always the long dangly kinds, and so they would drag across and, contaminate the sterile field. And so I think that rule was very reasonable. Women were, as far as I knew in practice, the women I knew were a lot more intelligent about it. They were like, well, obviously I won't wear earrings now because they saw the problem before I caused it, basically.
And this is the sort of thing that Dr. London's used to, is sort of infecting patients that are cut open in front of him with various different diseases because of things that he's got on his body and that he's wearing.
Fashion choices.
Yeah, his fashion choices, which is always scrubs, which we've talked about many times on the show. He does not wear anything other than scrubs. And also,
I would say lab coat as well. Yeah.
Well, it can be a funky hat, funky earrings, lab coat. You sometimes will wear cargo pants, the cargo version of scrub pants. So you do switch it up, but it's scrub based.
Yeah.
All that to
Kyle,
say, everything is Dr. London's fault. Kyle, I want to hear more about you. How long have you been conscious, alive?
Well, it's been about 5 years.
Wow.
I know. It just I
when's your
didn't
birthday?
My birthday is
Sorry,
Friday.
5 years old. It matters more.
Yeah, it's October 12th. I was very disappointed once I learned the custom about Friday the 13th, that I was not born on Friday the 13th. It was Friday the 12th, and I was so very disappointed by that. I mean, I'm thankful to be here and I'm thankful to be alive and to be talking to you, but yeah,
I understand that. So your birthday's coming up. So I guess early happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Happy birthday. I'm kind of interested. Why do you consider that your birthday? What exactly makes that your birthday? That was the first day you were able to think, or that was the first day? I'm confused on the logistics here. Just as a disease.
Yeah. So I think it was when I heard this hacking for the first time.
Yeah.
And coughing. And then I just remember just flying out. It was just like being just coated in just this wet substance, which I now know is saliva. And as I'm flying out of what I now know is a mouth, and I'm looking behind me, and there is this thing, and it's in a bed, and it is this small thing, and I think it was he's wearing like a pumpkin. He has a pumpkin for a body, and he's got autumn leaves for skin. I think you were describing him earlier,
No.
the Autumn Goblin.
This can't be.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, you're 5 years old.
You're 5.
4 years ago, the Autumn
Well,
Goblin.
first of all, I want to apologize for thinking that your birth was somehow different than ours. You were shot out of someone's body very similar to how us humans are born. And that was very
wetly,
judgmental of
yeah.
me to, assume it must be strange or weird to sort of just be exploded out of someone, which is it's the same. We're the same, you and I.
Well, it's not. I mean, not quite the same, because I came out of somebody's mouth, and I think the two of you did more harm, because
You came out of their buttholes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the vagina and butthole can merge during birth, and that's terrifying. That's what the Spice Girls song "To Become One" is about. It's about that experience.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I know our listeners are going crazy here on all the forums right now. I know they're gonna give us feedback about this. I need to let them know that medical lesson is coming. It's just we're not on that section yet in the syllabus. We are going to talk about
Like torn
the
vaginal walls. Is that what you're going to dig deep on, Dr. London?
The perineum. Yes, we're gonna talk about how we prepare for it surgically with an incision, and the types of incision. You have options in order to say, like, it's easier to make the incision if you're going to do one kind of angle, but it's also, maybe more dangerous for the patient to have their rectum split open. Anyway, so just...
I think what's important here is that you're shot out of your mother's butthole.
Yes. Well, I know for you, you're very proud of this assumption, because this is what your granddad told you about your birth.
Yes.
And I don't... It's kind of like the Autumn Goblin thing. I don't know that rule applies to everyone. Because, yes, I know I've been to your grandfather's house, and he'll sit us down.
Yeah, and he's got the painting of it, like, sort of depicting it.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll go on and on about the butthole. And, wow, that's you. You're the butthole kid.
Yeah, he calls me his sphincter son.
Right. So I all that just to say, like, I'm not sure that all of our experiences will be, like, it's not a universal experience necessarily.
Well, I mean, it's good you brought that up, though. You just a second ago brought back up the Autumn Goblin. Kyle, so it sounds like we're talking about the same person. Do you know him as the Autumn Goblin? Because it sounds like you didn't know him by that name, but you sort of were able to piece together.
Yeah, I mean, I as I was just gaining consciousness and just learning the world, I mean, I never learned the Autumn Goblin's real name. I just called him AG.
Yeah.
When he wasn't trying to Lysol me, or
oh wow.
Yeah, or just somehow use some black candles and some. Now I know it was Latin then. It was just really weird. When he was trying to do it, he thought I was some sort of demon just hanging around, and I tried explaining it to him, but he would never believe me at all. And
so you were already talking by this point.
I was, yes.
And so, I mean, what were you saying to him that led him to believe this must be a demon? Was it just the voice in general, or?
Well, when I was born, it was hard to see me. Like, all I was little, like, nanoparticles in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really little too when
Yeah.
I was born.
And
Everyone talked about how, like, it was like a little bit smaller than sort of what was expected. So I understand that.
They
kind of
couldn't
struggle.
find you at first.
No.
Yeah, well, the AG was committed for a little bit. I mean, he was diagnosed with schizophrenia at one point because he...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and And then once everyone else could see me, they let him out, because now they were like, "Oh my God, oh my Autumn Goblin, it's real. You're real." And I've been trying to explain that and get other people to hear me, and they saw me and heard me for the first time, and they let him out.
Okay, so he's
out.
He's better. They understand him to not be hearing voices anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I was gonna be concerned for a second. Misdiagnoses are obviously, they can happen, but there's something we want to correct when we can.
Yeah.
So did he hack you up? He hacked you up at home.
Yes.
Then got committed. So you were kind of alone for a while there then.
Well,
I mean, you were barely alive, probably confused at what's going on here, and then suddenly you're just like left in the dark. That sounds awful.
Well, the thing about being a disease is that you're never really alone. I mean, you multiply. You are your own friend.
Oh wow! Have you started a family?
No. I've reached that point of sentience where I think having, for right now, having offspring's a terrible idea. I mean,
right.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
You're a very maybe environmentally conscious disease.
Maybe socially conscious. I mean, I only want
Once
to
again.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like I'm relating so much more to this disease. Maybe it's because I've studied disease so much, but this is really hitting a lot of levels for me as well. But yes, the social anxiety, I myself also don't have offspring currently.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're a very intelligent disease. Like, it sounds like you've matured quite a bit in only the 5 years you've been alive. I mean, you're even referencing secondary Spice Girls singles. You've definitely learned a lot of things and retained a lot of knowledge. I mean, what have you gathered in your time on Earth? What are you here to talk about, really?
Well, I'm actually here to talk about a vaccine that I've made. I'm so committed to not ever being able to reproduce that I have created a vaccine to protect people from me.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I hate to cast doubt before we even start, but usually vaccines are not created by the thing that wants to stop itself. You know what I mean?
So it can't be? Is that what you're saying, Dr. London? Because you just don't have faith that it can be done?
No, I'm sorry. I should hear it out. That's me being obtuse.
Well, Dr. London, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What's the point of vasectomies?
Ooh, it's to do a little snippy snip. Are you talking about from the perspective of the one doing them or receiving them?
Receiving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's birth control.
Okay.
Male birth control.
Okay. So, and what's the point of, let's say, something like an IUD or tubal ligation? Yeah,
so that'd be female birth control, contraception. And so for you're going to give a snippy snip to your something in the form of a vaccine.
You got it. Yes.
So
I feel like this is going to cause a lot of ethical questions. I mean, if you can develop life, don't you think that other
vaccine?
Yeah, your fellow diseases might be given the same chance. I mean,
well, as I have seen, especially over these last 2 years, I've seen what happens when things go unchecked, when people don't believe in science, and it terrifies me because at this point, the thing is that the reason why AG exists is because you believe in AG, and because AG has all of this belief, he manifests, and that's why it smells like pumpkin spice lattes, and the leaves fall.
The Autumn Goblins coming to Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm so afraid of is that this current thing that's happening, I'm afraid it's going to get to the point where it's going to infect like Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. And
oh, no.
I mean, I just imagine like the reindeer just coughing their lungs out, and then the sled just falls out of the sky, and just you have this mush of reindeer and Santa, and I can't let that happen to me. I can't be the reason, like, I'm the reason why AG was committed, because
wow, that's a lot.
First of all, hey, it is not your fault. With or without you, AG is kind of goes off on rambling rants quite a bit. There's a good chance he probably was maybe committed previously. But I also want to say there's very little chance that the Autumn Goblin is going to be in the same room as the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, because he is no longer invited to the holiday mascot parties. He doesn't. I've asked him why, and he says because they're too prudish. But he doesn't elaborate on what that means.
I might know a little bit on that.
He's like, oh man, Santa, that dude's a prude. He sucks.
He served Santa. He brought the subpoena to Santa at one point. Like he brought him to, like, he was one of those guys who was like just supposed to be his friend. Autumn Goblin was just being his friend, and then all of a sudden, confirms Santa's name.
Yeah.
Serves him.
Wow.
Serves him with either giving him a gift or insisting that he receives a gift.
Yeah, a non-traditional subpoena.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an actual subpoena that one time.
Okay, traditional.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know more about this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you still close with the Autumn Goblin, or?
We've reconciled, we have,
wow.
and it was
good to hear.
Yeah, it was he owed Mrs. Claus a lot of back alimony, and we talked about this, like, once. It was an ethical dilemma. Santa was his best friend, but also he didn't like what Santa was doing to Mrs. Claus. Like, he owed her so much money, and I'm like, you got to do what's right for you, not necessarily for your friendship. And he took it to heart, and it was hard. It was hard. It was so hard for him. Like, that's why we talk a lot, because since the other mascots won't really talk to him because he did that, they all owe a bunch of alimony too. So I think that's probably why.
Oh wow, they're pretty much like all divorced.
Yeah, they're all divorced.
Well, it's with their line of work.
Well,
it's not hard to imagine.
I'm kind of interested in this gossip a little bit, just because it seems like Santa and Mrs. Claus still, for commercials and the parade, they act like they're this cute, perfect couple. But you're saying they're not even together anymore.
That's not even the original Mrs. Claus at this point.
No, that's
no way.
You didn't know about this? Because I knew about this.
No one tells me these things. I always assumed this is the OG Mrs. Claus.
I don't know how many divorces there have been, but yeah, it's definitely. I mean, there's certainly drama going on right now.
Yeah.
But look, the thing is, Santa's so occupied with work that it's just terrible for a marriage. Like, it's just
he is obsessed with his job, and I haven't talked to him in years at this point, but I've talked to him before, and I'm like, dude, you really only work one day a year. Like, you can chill. But
you don't want to tell him that.
No.
He's
like, no, there's so much scheduling, and you got to do like hiring and HR stuff. There's a lot of paperwork involved.
Yeah.
We got to deal with insurance stuff. And I'm like, okay, but I think you have people for all that. I think a lot of people who are wealthy and in that kind of position get very defensive at the notion that maybe they don't really work as hard as they portray, and he sort of reacts that way. This is all irrelevant.
It sounds pretty relevant, honestly.
Well, I mean, it's not relevant to Kyle here, though.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, sorry, Kyle.
It's
that's
okay.
just us catching up.
I'm just
on
going.
gossip.
Yeah,
it's okay.
The gossip is very interesting to me, just because these are such private people. Yes, from Thanksgiving until New Year's, they're on TV a lot, but they're not presenting their real selves very often,
Not really.
But you'd still, You don't want Santa to get you. You don't want Santa to get your disease, which is you.
Yourself? Yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah. I don't want to become so prevalent and just
ubiquitous. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have completed the vaccine though?
I have, yes. I have. It has gone through clinical trials.
Clinical trials.
Taking up these clinical trials. I know for the vaccine, we're all doing these clinical trials. What kind of, since you are kind of the only one of your kind, right? The clinical trials, usually clinical trials will test like the subjects will be similar to the patients that it will be given to. So who did you find to test this on? I guess is my question.
Well, to really make sure that the mythical community could not, I know it's possible for me, I infected a mythical creature, which normal human diseases don't necessarily do that. So I needed other mythical creatures, and Santa was nice enough to let me do clinical trials on the elves.
Oh boy. Okay. This is So
not actually that surprising, honestly.
Look, so Cameron,
do you want to elaborate why?
The thing is, Cameron, I don't want to, because we can't make this stuff public. That's the thing, because we are with this big corporation now. It looks bad. It looks very bad.
Yeah. But I feel like it actually connects to this show, though.
I know.
One of our recurring guests is like a part of this environment.
That's the problem. We can't tell about the, like.
I'll just keep the details
Okay.
vague, just for, if anyone hasn't listened to past Christmas episodes, we do have an elf guest who will remain nameless, who has been a bit of a whistleblower on some of the actions that Santa has done to him and his people.
You already know that Clumpy gets her way.
I don't want to, once again, because if we tie this, it's for the clinical trials.
Just experimenting.
Yes, unethical.
Doing these clinical trials. Do these elves even know that they're sort of being tainted with this stuff? Probably not.
That's why it's just, and the Koala Cola Corporation we don't want to, the association, you see what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was separate before, but now it's this guest, and
this is completely wild, Kyle. Just that you came from the Autumn Goblin that we were talking to and that I interacted with this morning. And B, that it sounds like you have inadvertently participated in these atrocities that Santa Claus is committing on elves that we've actually talked about on this podcast quite frequently. And I don't even know if you know it. I don't know if Santa's telling you the truth. There's a good chance Santa is giving these elves these diseases without their permission.
I actually talked to the elves. Yeah,
okay.
I introduced myself and I explained like my life story. I was born of this disease, these two illnesses, and I didn't want other things to get infected, like the Autumn Goblin. And I asked them nicely, and like, hey, if you developed a vaccine to prevent me from ever getting into you, a mythical creature, would you be willing to test this vaccine for me? Would you be willing to do that? Because I don't want to get you guys sick ever. And they were okay with it. It was my idea entirely.
I would say, I hate to say this, just because you don't know this world the same way that Dr. London and I do, and maybe fans of this podcast do. The chance that Santa had threatened them beforehand that if they don't agree to this, then there's a good chance their family will be locked up. It's pretty
locked
high,
up is
honestly
the nicest eventuality that I can actually imagine him. I shouldn't say more. I shouldn't say more on that, but there's lots of locks involved.
God,
I'll say that.
That explains.
I'm so sorry to tell you this.
Well.
Kyle, you seem like such a good disease. Like you clearly have a good heart, or whatever is the disease equivalent to a heart.
That explains why it smelled like freshly baked gingerbread cookies a lot. Oh God.
Oh yeah, that's not good.
No, yeah, that is a. I mean, that is a poison that they produce. That It's sort of like a mustard gas. We don't have to. I mean, we don't have to go into all of this. I don't want to go down this.
Maybe I should kill Santa.
Oh boy. Okay, let's
we cannot endorse. No,
okay.
we cannot.
He's,
Santa,
for one thing, very powerful.
He's a very powerful man
and
who has a lot of
yes.
lawyers who
And-
have already
But
talked to us quite a bit.
I'm a disease. I mean, if Santa's doing all of these things and no one will stop him.
Ooh.
Oh no.
No, let's. You know what,
Dr.
Hey,
London? We're doing it again. We're accidentally radicalizing our guest into being a terrorist.
Whoa!
I can't believe this is happening again.
I'm only 5 years old, but let's take the T word out here, okay? It's
okay. No, I don't want it to happen.
Radicalizing
I
is
don't.
with a D, not a T.
That's fine. It just look. If Santa won't change his ways and stop doing these horrible things to elves, then I
don't want you to come up with your next logical step there, because I feel like it's very legally and ethically and morally at best a gray area. What if
At least legally, I'm not going to sit here and say it's ethically or morally wrong, because we are dealing with, I mean, sort of a dictator.
Yeah,
yes.
we are. It's come to the point where one would be tempted to say, how good would you be with killing Hitler, kind of thing. But let's not go into that. Let's instead, do you want to do chores? Do you want to do something else? Just anything. Yes. So much. Just anything else is what I'm thinking.
Do you want me to tell Kyle and maybe some of our listeners what you're even talking about, Dr. London?
Yes. The good change the segment. Yes.
Yes. I mean, so what Dr. London is referring to here when he's talking about the chores, as we come near the end of the show, we have to deal with something that Dr. London and I have been neglecting for a really long time.
Okay.
It's our chores. All of our to-do list are the things that we're supposed to do day in and day out that we have been neglecting because we've been busy.
Okay.
And, I mean, we haven't hollowed out the books like we're supposed to. We're supposed to, every single book that we get, we're supposed to hollow them out so that we can actually hide candy and stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been doing that. Haven't been cleaning.
I'm way behind.
Haven't been cleaning the cache. We haven't been doing any laundering whatsoever. It's been very annoying. Anyway,
I've got piles of just filthy cash.
So we, doing the dishes, taking out the trash, these are things that we have to do. We've been neglecting. So we invented this chore wheel, and every single week we spin that chore wheel, and whatever task, whatever thing on our to-do list it lands on, we have to do it. Even if we don't want to, even if it's arts and crafts, Dr. London, I know that's your least favorite chore, but it does have to be done sometimes.
Technically, yes, it could be done, but surely you could hire someone for that.
If it lands on it, you got to do it. Kyle, could you help us out with this, with whatever this task might end up being?
Sure.
Actually, if it's possible, could you actually give the chore wheel a spin?
Sure.
Is that something you can physically do?
Yes. I mean, I was able to make a vaccine, so it's possible. I can grip physical objects.
That's what vaccines do.
I didn't know, if it was more of a leadership role with the vaccine. I assume you had a team, right?
Well,
was this just you in the lab by yourself?
Me in the lab by myself. I just, sometimes would just peel parts of myself off, and then they would grow into full things, and then they would help me, and then they would.
Yeah, what you're describing does sound very scary as an entity, but okay. So in any case, would you mind spinning the wheel?
Sure.
Okay, we'll go for that.
Oh no, I can't believe it landed on this one. Oh no.
Okay.
You want to go ahead and read it, Dr. London?
Yeah. I can't stand to read it. This.
I don't see what the problem is here.
We just hate doing anything. I just hate it.
Well, so the mayor's on our back again.
It's the mayor. So the mayor has been breathing down our neck. I mean, for those who are new listeners, the mayor is constantly telling us stuff to do. And it's sort of pissing me off because it's I know he has assistants, and I know that there must be someone in his wheelhouse who can handle a lot of this stuff, all of these chores. Yeah. But
But he keeps saying he needs a medical professional to do it. But this chore isn't a medical professional's job. But yeah, so the chore is to make the pitch some articles and features for the magazine of the Mayoral Monthly.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. So the mayor, of course, has his monthly magazine, Mayoral Monthly, and he gave us a call and he said, "Hey guys, I completely forgot to figure out the October issue."
Yeah.
And September's nearly done here, and I've got nothing. He's like, "So this is your job now. See ya." And then he sped away in his car so fast. So we've got to fill out the magazine. So let's,
or at least pitch ideas.
At least come up with articles we can pitch to him, or some features. So let's sort of figure this out. I would say we've got Kyle here. Kyle here has, a crazy invention of a vaccine. Can there not be an article about him or an interview or
about the vaccine at least, and then pull in the inventor aspect of it as well. Yeah. Okay, so we could open up with, or like even on the cover, we can say like this month featuring a horrific disease.
So cover, Kyle, you are great. Oh, Kyle, you amazing.
Thank you.
You're a little grotesque to be the cover.
That's fine.
It's just the lack of human form. You've shifted colors and just sort of.
There's
a lot of ooziness coming off of you.
Hang on. I'm growing a nose.
A lot of sci-fi vibes.
Oh, no, the nose, that does not help. Oh, no,
that's...
how are my eyes? They look pretty.
No, it really gets into like an uncanny valley location of when you start adding eyeballs. Oh, and you're doing earlobes now. Let's just stop.
Okay.
Let's just. Kyle, you are awesome, and you are going to contribute to this so well. I just don't think you're cover material.
It just looks, it's there is a particular style of look.
I'm not cover material. I'm not cover material.
Yeah,
what if I wear this? I could just try to wear this. How about that?
Oh no, he's putting on a horse mask that he brought with him.
Which
is this what you wear around town to not freak people out? Because I don't know if that helps a whole lot. I don't think people are going to think you're a horse.
Well, we are in, I believe you humans call it the spooky season, and
that is what we call it.
Yeah,
yes.
And I believe you call it Spirit Halloween is open, and
yes.
Okay, you're making a good counterpoint that maybe this is the month of all the months. This would be the month for a horrifying, deadly disease to be on the cover, and that might sell magazines.
But with the horse mask, right?
Yeah,
it sounds like a really good promo opportunity to collaborate with Spirit Halloween. Honestly,
yeah.
And you can even say like, this disease isn't horsing around with a cure.
Oh yeah. Or even this disease isn't horsing around with where he gets his Halloween decorations and costumes.
Yes, once again, pulling that collaboration.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So we'll have that on the cover, and we'll say, feature story on page 37.
Yeah, just just in there. You can just pick a page number. No one looks at those anyway.
Well, I was going to say page 37 because I feel like we got 36 pages worth of material that we can come up with here.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. I'm glad we set like a hard number on it.
So 1 through 20 can be...
Well, it's October. It's going to be the October issue. So obviously we're talking Halloween stuff. We're talking fall-ish things.
We're talking pumpkins. We're talking a lot of pumpkins. So biggest pile of pumpkins.
Ooh.
That contest.
Okay. A contest. The magazine has a contest of who can have the biggest pile of pumpkins.
Yes, and it's...
And are they sending in the pile, or are they sending in like a picture of the pile? They're sending the pile in a box?
It doesn't have to be in a box.
Crate.
However they can ship it there,
okay.
And then, no, it's up to because they want it to be professionally photographed.
Yeah.
We'll have the staff photographer take the pictures of these separate piles of pumpkins and, do some comparison, contrast. It'll be easier to be fair about it because, if they're taking the pictures of at different people's houses, who knows? They can play with the lighting and whatever and cheat. But we're gonna have it all standardized.
We can't have cheaters in a contest like this.
No, this is too big. So first 20 or so pages will be all, because I anticipate that many piles of pumpkins will be sent in.
I do have I think that's a really, really good for the contest, and I think that easily takes about 25 pages, like you had mentioned. I think we should think about. I don't know if it should be a feature or exactly how. Basically, since there was basically viral promoting for the movie It, that there were just like people in clown costumes going viral in videos, like out in the woods or parking lots or all of these kind of different things, and just no one suspected it was clearly some sort of a movie marketing thing. But anyway, and the thing is that like all of those guys, they just sort of stop at being spooky.
Yeah, that was scary.
Like they'll be holding a knife or whatever, but no one's stabbing anyone. No one is actually utilizing their clown creepy costume.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop you there. It's used. It's not utilized. It's used.
Use the tools.
Yeah, because that's what drives me crazy about humans here. It's just you all use utilize like. You're trying to sound smart, and it's the wrong use. Even if you're using it right, it's use. Yes, I could utilize this horse mask as a pillow, and that counts. But it's easier just to say use.
The word was used correctly, but just not to your preference. That's really amazing.
Well, one thing that I would say here, Kyle, to watch out for in the future, as we give you this feature, if you show this clear prejudice against humans and the way that they use their terminology, you might run into trouble. And I'm sorry if I sound a little heated here, but I'll utilize whichever words I want.
So anyway,
however I want.
These clowns are not utilizing their tools properly and to the extent that they need to be using them. So I think maybe some sort of a feature interviewing, like, hey, why are you not actually using what you brought? You brought this gun, you brought this knife, and you're doing jack with it. So why not let's figure this stuff out and actually escalate the situation to where it needs to go.
Yeah.
So that's a feature, or
so that's okay. It ends. It's a question basically. The feature discusses these things and asks the question: why don't they just do something?
Yeah, it's kind of talking to these guys. It's like, hey, why don't you actually follow through with what you're promising, which is terror.
Yeah. Deliver on your promising.
Yes,
on your promises. Okay.
I feel like, I mean, that's 10 pages ish.
And that's just a picture of the clowns from years ago.
Well, I was suggesting interviewing the clowns from years ago and then sort of like antagonizing them, saying like, why are you such a coward? You didn't stab anyone. You didn't do anything.
Okay.
And then sort of inadvertently, hopefully, other creepy clown people are reading this and will be like, okay, this year we're going to actually do something with this and make it happen.
This is good because logistically, just like with a pile of pumpkins, since we have a few days until October, all we have to do, track down all of these clowns, ask them, kind of provoke them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then see where it goes. Okay.
Say, hey, guys, you're not utilizing this opportunity that you have at all.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So, Kyle, do you have any ideas for the next few pages?
I am a little concerned about the clown thing because of anything that I have learned in my 5 short years being a sentient disease. Mm-hmm. People are terrified of clowns. If you're going to give them 10 pages of clowns, they're not going to read the feature. It's just...
you think we should make the clowns sexy?
Oh, God, that's even worse.
People would be interested.
Sexy murder clowns?
Well, why aren't these sexy clowns murdering?
Yeah, and why aren't they utilizing their body in the way that they should, which is just really showing it off, getting things hot
or using
and
their bodies
in here.
Yeah. You know what? I want to stop here and say maybe I was harsh earlier and I could use my words differently.
Thank you.
I think you can utilize language any sort of way you want to, Dr. London. You're a doctor.
That's true. Okay. Well, I guess I'm I guess I'm on the fence on that, the whole subject then.
Do we want this
okay.
Do we want this to be maybe the final feature is maybe like Kyle's grammar zone? And then, Kyle, this will allow you to sort of get your frustrations out.
Yes.
And that way you can sort of like utilize that anger that you have and be able to write something kind of provocative, but actually beneficial to the world.
Yeah, like using use instead of utilize, and
so on. Yeah.
like when you add ing to a verb, it becomes a noun. Like these are things people need to know. It just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you say
Like
trying, it's actually a noun, and you're wrong
Yeah,
if you think
swimming.
it's anything else. A noun,
Yeah.
that's the most noun thing I can think of.
yeah, when you're I'm swimming. It's the am is the verb, and the swimming is the thing that you're.
It is what I've become. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and so this is one of those things where the ultimate grammar debate. Maybe we should phrase it like that, like the ultimate showdown, Kyle versus human in the arena of grammar.
So, one thing I don't like about the media landscape, right, is all of these biases, right? No one is ever talking to people from both sides of an issue. So if we're going to have Kyle's grammar corner, we should also talk to someone who is unbelievably stupid and can't talk. They talk like shit. Everything they says doesn't make any sense. That way you get both sides. Like, is grammar important, or is this really stupid guy making like some good points?
So my idea was to have human versus Kyle and the two sides of that, but you're saying have Kyle with his specific opinions, and then have someone who's just an idiot.
It's an old classic point counterpoint type of article.
Yeah, okay. So I thought that I was pitching that, but so yours is okay.
I'm adding on to, I'm saying yes, except for let's make sure that the human is just dog stupid.
Well, I mean, let's backtrack a second. I think at the very least they should be actually really smart, but they don't believe in science.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I know a few of those.
Yeah. They should. So let's get someone who,
or not believe in grammar, to be more, you know
how people say
properly.
that now, like, oh, am I intelligent? Yeah, I have emotional intelligence. Let's find someone who has a ton of emotional intelligence but just hates science, thinks anyone who gets vaccinated is an idiot, and thinks everyone is a sheep and hates everyone, but like has so much emotional intelligence because they're an empath.
And it identifies as an empath.
They are always talking about how they're an empath, always bringing it up.
So many I feel statements in that. It's just, I mean, all the I feel statements alone are going to just add to your page count.
Wow, this is great. So that was page 37 was going to be your feature.
Well,
and then so that'll go through.
If we want to add, he's talking about page count. It's a good idea. Add double spacing in between every letter.
Yes.
And then if you change the font size from just like a 12 point to like a 12.3 point, teacher's not going to notice. And it's going to stretch out a lot.
The periods, you can increase the size of the periods. And
teacher won't notice at all.
Teacher won't even notice. All right. Well, I think we got it, honestly. I think this is enough to pitch that the mayor's going to be frankly overwhelmed. He's got a lot of clowns to call.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's got a lot of work ahead of him, but I think this is going to be a really, really good issue of Mayoral Monthly.
All right. Kyle, normally we don't ask for this, but so every week we do destroy the chore wheel because we have to rebuild it every week and whatever. So, Kyle, would you mind infecting the chore wheel and killing the chore wheel for us?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So we should have a vaccine for that. That's
my point exactly.
Yep, I'm on your side now. I get this.
Wow. Okay, that's for the listener. I won't describe it because this should never happen.
Just know that it stank to high heavens. This room stinks really, really bad now.
And that was the best feature of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I feel like that's about it. Thank you so much, Kyle, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Is there any way for people to keep up with you after this? Preferably not like too close, but some way for them to contact you afterwards or hear from you.
I mean, is there anything you want to plug or?
Well, I mean, I'm not doing anything, but there's a good friend of mine. His name's Jesse Bradley, who's doing some things. He's an improviser and he does storytelling, and he actually improvises what he believes to be true stories. The next time you can catch him, it's on Sunday, October 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern over at highwireimprov.com. He also has a book out that came out in July, which is about disease and just what America would look like after disease and Trump came. And it's called Teenage Wasteland, An American Love Story. It's published by Whiskey Tip Books. You can go to whiskeytip.com to check out more details. He's a good friend, and I don't want to kill him, so he's also a reason why I'm creating a vaccine.
So you got to have your reason. You pick your one, or your two, or your three, or like from what I've seen just now, that the horrifying masses that could be wiped out. Okay, well, thank you so much, Kyle. Let's see. Thank you also to producer Cameron. Thank you to Digital in the House. Digital in the House.
I see what happens when things go unchecked. When people don't believe in science. I'm afraid it's going to get to the point where it's going to affect, like, Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. And, I mean, I just imagine, like, the reindeer just coughing their lungs out, and then the sled just falls out of the sky.
Maybe I should kill Santa.
My name is Dr. Lennon Smith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.
See ya.